Anyway, let's go into our first topic for tonight, and that is going to be topic number 1: dealing with new scammer tactics. So, Eric and I were talking before the show. We kind of like debate whether to talk about some of this stuff, because as soon as we talk about it, sometimes people figure out other ways to scam people. So the big advice that we had, I think, over the last year would be, or even like prior to this year, you would say whenever you're going to buy something, ask for references, become members of the Facebook groups. We have Secret Sanctuary on Facebook. We have the Batman Statue Collector Brotherhood of the Bat Collectibles. There's a lot of great positive groups out there with a lot of good people. However, as much as we try, there's always going to be some fake people in the group. There's always going to be some people that are trying to scam someone. And so, we recommended that you ask for references. And people are usually really quick to jump in and say, hey, trusted seller, buy with confidence, that sort of thing. Then at the same time, get to know other people in the community. That helps as well. And then we started saying things like, okay, like recently I bought the samurai pieces. And so they said what they had. I'm pretty cautious. I'm a little bit nervous as a buyer. You just don't know who you can trust these days. And I asked, could you put my name and today's date and hold it up in front of the statues? And they said, sure, no problem. And so that's exactly what they did. This seller was incredible. They took videos of them packing it up. They took videos of if there were any issues. They took videos of the boxes, just to make me feel comfortable as a buyer. Well, now people are starting to take advantage of that. I want to give an example of something that happened to a group member recently. So if you are familiar with George Raw has Raw statue reviews. And he does video reviews. He's done video reviews for our channel early on, and he's got a bunch of samurai pieces. Well, this is what popped up in one of the groups this week. Let me get rid of that banner. So the person selling this, this photo is badly photoshopped. They put, text over a piece of paper that was somebody else's, whether this was George's or another collector's, and made a fake name, spelled samurai wrong, and put today's date. So everything that we've been recommending here on this channel is exactly what they're doing here, but they're not truthful. They're not really theirs. And so that is becoming a problem. Eric, you were talking a little bit about some other tactics that people have been doing lately. What else are you hearing about or seeing?
Yeah, so it seems to be, scammers are always around, but the last few weeks it seems to be increasing. And like you said, Chris, it feels like they're using our past tactics of what not to do or what to do and learning from it and changing their ways. So in the past, they would steal, pictures either online or from the groups and from other collectors and say, this is my statue, and they would try to sell it and they didn't have the statue and you would get scammed. Or, we would recognize the photos. We would be like, no, I recognize that photo. That's not your photo. That belongs to Chris's collection. It's a tight community. We all know each other's pictures. They circulate around and we know photo from photo and who they belong to for the most part. So we came up with the idea, hey, take a piece of paper, write your name on it, and put it next to the statue. This way I know it's your statue. They tried to get around that. They would try to Photoshop a piece of paper next to the statue, and it didn't look right. It's pretty hard to actually Photoshop a piece of paper next to a statue. The lighting doesn't look right. It's a thin piece of paper. So what they're now doing is they're actually reaching out to other sellers. So for example, Chris, say if I'm the scammer and you're a seller selling maybe Joker Samurai. So I'm a scammer and I reach out to you, Chris, and I say, hey, Chris, I'm interested in buying your Joker Samurai piece. Do me a favor, send me a picture of your statue with your name on a piece of paper or better yet, maybe send me a video, a little tour of the statue so I can see what it looks like. And you say, yeah, that's what we're supposed to be doing. Okay, I'll send you that. So now you just sent me a picture of the statue with a piece of paper, and now at least I have that. So what they're doing is they're just changing the name off the paper, which is a lot easier to do than trying to Photoshop an entire piece of paper. This is a bad example because the paper looks terrible also. There's a whole bunch of
It
cases.
still shows that that's what they're doing.
There's a whole bunch of cases. There's another one. So there was one example a few weeks ago, or it might have been this week. I think it's actually the same guy. He just keeps changing his name. And he did that. He took somebody, he contacted a seller. He said, send me a picture of, the statue, the paper, blah, 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 and send it to me. So he did that. He changed the name. Again, I hate to teach these guys what they're doing wrong, but here's what he did wrong. The lighting from the picture was coming from the top left corner and casting a shadow to the right. So everything in the picture had a shadow to the right. The statue, the paper, whatever was on the desk had a shadow to the right. The guy's name, he put a drop shadow on it, and it was casting a shadow to the upper left. I mean, it looked pretty good, but clearly his shadow was off, and it was a instant red flag. So basically what they're doing is going from, they used to steal pictures we would recognize off the internet or from the groups, like I said, we all know each other. We know each other's collections. And they're no longer doing that. They're contacting people, other sellers, and asking for private pictures that we're not used to seeing, pictures that aren't circulating around the communities that we're used to seeing. They're taking video that we're not used to seeing, and they're passing it off as their own when people contacting them and saying it's theirs. So it's getting a little bit more sneakier. They're even to the point where they'll take that photo that we're not used to seeing, and it might be somebody's collection that we recognize. Chris, you have a recognizable collection, and they'll just crop it to the point where you only see part of the statue. You might just see the head and the shoulder and the body. You don't see anything in the background. They're doing that because they don't want you to see the background to where you might recognize the person's collection. So they're doing whatever they can to get past people. They get to the point where they're contacting people asking for pictures instead of stealing them. That's where we're at right now.
It's just crazy, the links that people will go. And, I know that sometimes times are tough. And so, people feel like they need to do things like that. We were talking again before the show, and, Ro Moreno, I want to highlight his comment again. He says, would be almost better to video call the seller to see the statue live. And that's kind of what I was going to recommend, where we used to say, hey, hold a piece of paper in front of, the statue with your name. It needs to be more complicated than that. It needs to be thorough. And if somebody's not willing to do that, to sell it, then I wouldn't buy it. And so what I recommend at this point is, you say, hey, I want you to film yourself in front of the statue, say today's date and your name, and, have video proof that it's yours and it's not, somebody else's collection. And whenever you ask somebody that and they suddenly don't respond back, guess what? You just caught a scammer.
Yeah.
And I had somebody recently that I was dealing with, and I knew right away because just the way they were acting, the way they weren't not responding, you can kind of start to feel that, and the big problem with like Facebook is like, I recommend all the time people go to the buy sell trade groups because eBay's ridiculous. Everybody has to jack up their prices because eBay charges so much. Or if you have like a great website, like Jeff, plug your website.
www.detective27.com.
So, Jeff lists all of his statues and books and stuff on his website. That's great. You can also trust Jeff, so he's a great person in the community. But if you didn't know Jeff and, you come across him randomly on Facebook, you're not going to know if he's a good person or not. You're not even going to know if that's his real name. And so that's the problem is anybody can join a group, create a fake name, create a fake profile. I get 500 friend requests a day, and I bet half of them are fake.
And you got to be careful with that too.
You do have
to be careful because then it looks like you're a friend of that person, because that's the other thing that's going on. So forget the whole paper thing, forget the whole video thing. We're telling people ask for references. That's also happening. I believe it's the same guy. He's probably, he follows the groups very closely because he knows everything. Anybody could do it. You create 5, 10, whatever, how many Facebook accounts you want to create. And then when you go you say, hey, I need references. You use your 4 or 5 fake accounts and say, hey, this guy's great. This guy's great. This guy's great. I've dealt with them. Meanwhile, it's all fake accounts. So, and then Chris, you might show up on his account too as a friend. So, hey, Chris is a friend with them.
Sure.
You don't know.
And that's the thing is, like, I see all the time, like, whenever you go to the Facebook, it says how many mutual people you have,
Yeah.
And again, being on YouTube and, I just get a ton of friend requests, but again, half of them seem fake. And like, I go in and look at their profile and they have one picture, since like, 2005 or something like that, with no interaction or no, I mean, it's like, it's just so much fake everything, I think, out there. And again, it's just a lot of people scamming. I did want to highlight Batman Tube. There's some debate whether Batman Tube is actually somebody we know. So we'll have to see if that is true. Is this Brad? It might be Brad. He's making some sort of big announcement here soon. This might be it. Anyway, he says, I still don't know if Jeff is Jeff's real name. He screams Andrew. So
I'm not going to tell.
Yeah, it's like, well, I guess we'll never know, right?
Yeah. Just don't call me Andy.
Yeah. So again, I think that for me personally, from here on out, I'm always going to ask for a video or like a live, like Ro said, a live conference call or something. Although I like the recorded video. That way you can document it. Because if you do something live, unless you screen record, you want proof. You want proof for yourself. Well, also, if you do get scammed, it's good to call people out, to show, hey, this is a scammer. We try to block those people.
That's if the person is on the actual video, like you said, because like we were talking about before the show with Matt, you can do a voiceover. So like I said, the scammers are reaching out to sellers. They're asking for photos. They're asking for video. So now, Chris, if I ask you for a video of your Joker and I want to go scam and say I have that Joker and you send me a private video of it, I could do a voiceover on top of it and be like, hey, this guy, I'm selling it to this guy. It's my statue. Today's February 18th or whatever today's date is. And now it looks like I have the statue.
Yep, that's
so
right.
You gotta. I mean, if you're gonna go that far, the person might have to appear on camera.
I personally think that's what I'm going to request. I'm going to request that they personally appear on camera talking about the statue, showing it, talking to, and mention the date.
Yeah,
I think that's peace of mind. I mean, you can't, like I said, unless it eventually becomes some sort of deep fake, something or other. And hopefully we don't get to that point, but I think that's what people should do. A lot of people are saying they just buy from the store no matter what it is. The problem is that there's a lot of great pieces, and there's a lot of all these pieces. I think from time to time need a second home or a third home. Just let other people enjoy the art.
Sure.
And that's like I'm happy to, like, again, my entire samurai line they're all used. I mean, they're all secondhand.
Yeah. Or just buy from who you recognize. I mean, like I said, it's not just our group. Every group, it's a tight community. We see each other posting each day. We know who each other are. Buy from those people that you know who they are.
Yep.
That's right. Any other advice from the Jeffs or Matt for things that you recommend or things that you've been successful with whenever you've dealt with sellers or buyers?
I've only sold one statue ever. And I've only bought one, and the one I bought was from Jeff. So
That's fake Jeff. He's
pretty confident there. But I like what the comment Oscar just said a little while up in the chat about if somebody's not willing to go on a live video with you and they're looking to sell a statue, I don't really trust it right from there. If somebody has something to hide, they're gonna try.
That's the thing.
Well, that's another tactic. I hate to teach the scammers, but they include in their description willing to meet up locally. It makes them sound better. They're not obviously willing to meet up locally. People have tried to meet up locally and they don't answer the messages or they turn them down. So they're trying everything out there. You gotta be careful.
So again, like I mentioned to Eric before the show, it's like, people just have to continue to be smarter, with what they're doing. When you're dealing with, whether it's a hot toy, whether it's an Iron Studios piece, all the way up to, a $4,000 life-size bust or something, you have to be smart. These are very expensive things. They're breakable. They're hassle to begin with. And so if you're going to go through all the hassle of buying and selling, you just have to be smart. And we have to continue to be smarter than the scammers around us. And I feel like, again, Eric and I were talking before the show about, is it a good idea to talk about this? Is it a good idea to bring it to the forefront where people might get ideas? But at the same time, if we don't, then people are going to continue to just continue to scam. People are going to continue to fall for it. And I don't want to see that happen in the community. I want people to feel comfortable buying. Again, we have a phenomenal community, and most of us out there are decent, honest people. There are always going to be people that are not, though. And so they're going to ruin it for a lot of us. And so I think we have to continue to call them out and let them know that we're just going to continue to be smarter and recommend people to be smarter, with what they're doing. And again, I feel like the video thing is your best bet right now. And like everybody said, if they are not willing to do it, sorry, move on.
Sometimes in the comics world, buyers and sellers use an intermediary. So if I don't know the person buying from me, but we have someone that we both know, I'll send the comic book to the intermediary. The person sends payment to the intermediary. When that comic arrives, he checks to make sure it's as described. He says yes, and then he sends the payment to me, and he sends the book to the buyer, and everybody's happy and can trust that they're getting what they're looking for.
I almost wish that we could start, again, I'm just thinking out loud, but start like a private buy-sell trade group where everybody's been verified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't
That's
know.
not, I mean, that's hard because there is so much stuff comes to the buy-sell trade group every day.
Yeah.
And, I don't know who else is moderating or looking at it, but I try to look at, if it's a name that doesn't seem familiar, to click on their profile and, does this even look like a real person? Or if it's something that's too good to be true.
Yep.
Or if the picture looks vaguely familiar.
Yeah, and not to stereotype the international sellers as scammers, but a lot of them use fake addresses in the U.S. I mean, even on eBay, you can create fake stealth accounts on eBay, and people scam on eBay all day with stealth accounts. So,
Yep,
it's always out there.
The branch says one of the solutions to fake pics and videos be to switching to streaming. Just ask the seller to do a Google Meet and do a video call. And again, that's an option. And again, if you can record the call, I would do that just because, again, just peace of mind. And if they, send you a weighted brick or something, it's like you have this proof that this person on this date said they were going to do the whatever, and I just think it's a good idea. I don't know. Anything else you guys want to say about it before we move on, or do you feel like we've exhausted it?
Yeah, I think we taught them enough for next time.
Yeah, that's right. So again, we just have to continue to stay ahead of it. And
luckily, they're not that great at Photoshop, and we're still catching it for the most part.
Yeah,
but there are people that are getting fooled by it every day. So
I think that, again, just the biggest thing is if somebody won't do something you request, maybe move on.
There are enough known people in the hobby trying to sell statues. Maybe just don't buy from an unknown person.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, buy from people, especially if you've had a good experience with somebody. I highly recommend you post it. Like say like, hey, I just bought a great Batman statue from Jeff Delaney. I just want to give him props, and I do see a lot of that. I'm sure you guys do too, where, somebody will name drop. And maybe, I don't know, maybe that could be faked as well. I don't know. But
on the CGC message boards, there is a prop thread where every seller has their own thread. So it's a whole section on that website. And you can go there and see how many people have given props to each seller.
That's awesome. Captain Trenchcoat asks, is there a way to record the good references in the group, make it a sticky or something? We could probably do a pinned post thread, which is probably not a bad idea.
It's kind of like what Jeff just said with the CGC board. So you have your own. I mean, we can't create threads, but each seller has their own thread with their own feedback. It's kind of like an eBay, feedback type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I just feel like we need to come up with some sort of database, like website or something where people could.
Don't you have a website? Maybe we can add it to your website.
No, maybe. I mean, mine is not currently up because I haven't been able to make my announcement yet, but hopefully I will be able to soon. But I don't know. Maybe we'll try to figure out something where we can just create a database like that where people can give feedback or something. That would be neat. Is counterfeit statues a common and legitimate danger when purchasing a statue? Yes. There are a lot of fakes. Whenever I was looking for samurai pieces, I did go to eBay just to look, and there were so many fakes. Like it's just ridiculous how many there are. And you can tell by the price point, you can tell by the way they look, although some of them are very, very good. Or the scammer sites just used production photos from the companies, and then, they send you a recast. So there are counterfeit and recasts out there, and people will try to sell them. So again, the more photos you can get, or the more video, like if you can get a video, it's good quality with the person in it. And again, just knowing people in the community, I think that helps too. Like being part of the group. If you're an outsider and, I would find it really difficult to be an outsider and trust anybody. Like I have enough trouble now. But again, I have confidence. The people that I've bought from, I have known in the community. So.
And what's interesting about that is we always complain how much we hate the boxes, but it really sometimes comes down to the box, because the statues are easy to fake. Most of these fakes, they don't come with the original box unless somebody's doing like a switcheroo and they put the fake statue inside a real box that they had. So always look out see if it has an art box with it, and match up the numbers on the base to the box. And
yeah, good idea. We need to have a banner or an icon next to an account in the group to know if somebody was a legit seller. That would actually be really neat if we could do some sort of, they always have like the little icons for like, new poster or, super rising star or whatever. That'd be neat if we could do a custom one.
If we were in the forums, we could do that.
Ezra says, are there any of these bogus sellers getting charged for anything? I doubt it.
Yeah, probably not.
I doubt it. Could you explain how to work out PayPal fees as seller of a statue, not directly through eBay? Well, there's two ways to buy from PayPal. If that's what you're asking, so if you buy goods and services, and a lot of people ask for goods and services, I do that a lot whenever we have our show. And I feel like I can do that because I have a reputation in the community. I know all of us in this group does. But if you don't know the person, I would always recommend you do goods and services and pay, 4%?
Around there.
Around there. Pay the 4% fee. That way you're covered, at least allegedly covered. I don't know. Any other advice on that on PayPal?
Yeah, so they're two complete separate entities. They're actually not even connected anymore. So back in the day when they were connected, eBay would charge you 10% or something like that, and then PayPal would charge you 4%. So if you're using just PayPal alone, it's about 4% of the sale. So just Google 4% of the sale price, whatever price you work out, and add that on to the price that you're negotiating.
Let's see. A lot of people are saying don't pay friends and family. Pay the fee. Also do a credit card with goods and services too. Extra protection with credit card.
That's true.
That's good advice. Let's see. Yeah, 3.49% PayPal goods and services fees with 180 days of protection. eBay is only connected to PayPal with shipping as of 2022. Yeah, they basically separated, right? Cash, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And Batman Tube. See, this has got to be Brad. I never give any money to friends and family. That's awesome.
Well, he's in the picture, so I don't know.
That is him. I
know people joking around. He's in the thumbnail.
No, I see him now. I couldn't even see him. That's fantastic. Welcome, Brad. So anyway, I just wanted to bring that up with the community and just to, again, kind of make everybody aware of what's going on out there. Again, like Eric said, it's been kind of an uptick here in the last month, couple weeks. So anyway, just be aware and be cautious of what's going on. Hey guys, thank you so very much for watching today. And if you're new here, please hit the subscribe button right here on the screen and check out these 2 awesome videos. I think you're going to love them. And also please join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I would love to have you join in all the fun. Thank you guys so very much for watching. See you in the Batcave.